Welcome back to the LCS lock-in semifinal series between Dignitas QNTMPAY and Team Liquid. TL pulling up 2-1 in this best of 5, but Dignitas still have an opportunity to try and scrap back in it. So, Kobe, how much faith do you have in Team Liquid to close it out versus Dignitas making a way to Game 5?
Whippo, I'm all aboard the wide Whippo train.
Yeah.
Sign me up. he keeps increasing in power. I think he's playing out of his mind right now, actually. Ayla's performing really well, you know, coming in and dealing with the import slot stuff as well. So I think that definitely the momentum here is on Team Liquid, mainly due to top lane.
Yeah, I have to agree with that assessment. And I know draft is not as simple as just like, hey, pick more scaling, but Dig should definitely try to pick more scaling. So I want a higher priority on a scaling mid lane pick for blue that's good with team fighting, a Corki or a Victor if it's not banned. Bottom lane has actually been generally a wash, like Ayla and Hans have not been able to dominate them, even with those matchups. And then spend the remainder of your bans just trying to make it so Whippo can't be on a good team fighter. Like, if Dig had drafted a stronger team fighting team comp and still even had Whippo with a counter pick at the end, I think it would have been more okay. So that's the direction I'm hoping that Dignitas goes, since that is how they got their one victory in this series.
I also do think that River is performing exceptionally for Dig. They do have some things to work off of. Blue has had quite a good time in his matchups versus Bjergsen around mid lane as well. So maybe some jungle mid focus to really take over the game that way. Let's get right into it though. Rivers Jarvan, will we ever see it again?
Nope, never again, it's gone.
Bye-bye, J4. TF and LeBlanc were never for the world of this series, continually banned away. And on that note of Blue, getting to see him on some different picks this time around. They had that Diana Yasuo game that you were mentioning prior that worked out well for them. And the Zoe has also been banned from him in a lot of these drafts as well. So maybe looking to go towards some other potentially powerful picks, but no Corki this time.
Yeah, and definitely pay attention to the, you know, build. And I know the tank build is definitely popular right now, but when you need some more power, some more damage there, try and squeeze it out. The Corki, yeah, not going to be able to go into his hands, but you know, he's also very happy to play the Victor scaling side too. Orianna Victor could very well be the possibility if they just want to kind of scale as well for team.
No more Xin Zhao here for Santorin. We've seen that in a couple of these games worked out very well.
That does mean they leave the Trundle up. Yeah. So either Trundle or Renekton can be in this game again as well. Only one of the two. I think that Team Liquid, Dignitas now have to kind of worry about putting Fake God back on his tank duty stuff, because Santorin is such a good Trundle player. And Fake God has had such a hard time with Whippo. I think that is probably the biggest, you know, issue that they're trying to come up with a solution for here in Champ Select.
Interesting with the first pick Karma, it was banned last game, and that was what gave over the Caitlyn. So TL trying to pick the lesser of two evils. It's not like the Caitlyn was ineffective last game, it just didn't win the game. It still had a lot of lane priority, and Biofrost is a good Karma. I think we'll probably see an Ezreal combo with that when they come back to picking again.
Yeah, truly strong and flexible champion right now. Ezreal is one of the go-tos. Also can be played top lane, can be flexed around. You know, we're talking about trying to solve some problems there up on the top lane issues as well. But definitely provides you pushing and poke on bottom side regardless of AD carry too.
Anytime that we've seen Karma come through in more popularity in the pick ban, it is usually because she has some of that flexibility in what she can offer to a team comp. So on the other way though, it's Thresh is the first lock-in.
All right, Jinx or Aphelios, what's it gonna be, Hansama? Not showing yet. I actually prefer the Jinx, especially if you're looking across at a Karma and trying to play off of Jinx reset team fight power later. You know, you were talking about how Dig has won these games, plus the range with rockets. And Dig have not really committed to close range. So when you do get the combination of poke of Ezreal Karma, which also, by the way, Karma fights so much because you can mantra Q around the ranged minion wave too and gain control there, which sometimes Ezreal has problems with.
And actually, as we'll see what third pick comes in for Dignitas, I wouldn't be too shocked if they pick mid on 3, because the Thresh pairs, you can do Thresh Varus, Thresh Jinx, Thresh Aphelios, Thresh Callista. There's a lot of stuff that can be matched, and especially if they see the Victor, they could try and match it right now. Once again, though, I do really like the Victor there for blue as a high-scaling mid laner.
Yeah, you called it out as a pick, and that's exactly what Dig decided to do. Also making sure that Neo is on a very comfortable pick in the Ezreal.
So Orianna possibilities for Bjergsen. Zillion is also always a possibility. Both of them would be scaling then, but Victor would have priority over the lane. And they say we can absorb bans.
Happy with the Varus.
Bjergsen is fine to absorb bans. This man, at his prime especially, had one of the widest champion pools. Yes, it is a bit rusty, is coming back to mid lane, so might not be as deep as previously. But you've always got, you know, Orianna and whatnot in the tank. So again, the Varus shows here for Hansama, fighting back some of the range wars. When you see an Ezreal, Karma, Victor all locked in, you have two choices. Either make a really risky play and go all in on hard engaged picks to be able to crack them before they can poke you down, or try and get some range yourself.
Making it through the latter stage of our bans here, though. It's Olaf. Don't want that coming through if it's Team Liquid that has anything to say about it. And yeah, making sure to stick with that Varus play that worked well enough for them before, and then the Viego as well. Just a powerful pick over in
Down to the wire.
Position.
Yeah.
So Orianna, nah, we ain't gonna get it on the opposite side.
You can see a lot of discussion going through for Team Liquid, or sorry, for Dignitas right now. It's a question of, do we throw bans towards Bwipo, which is hard because he's played everything already. He's thrown out Rengar, Aatrox, Gwen, Graves, all of these things they could potentially ban. Or do we just say, okay, we already have a Victor. It's the simple match of what mid lane champions can we try and snipe. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Syndra ban, but as we know, Bjergsen can play a lot of things. Maybe it's a Zillion angle?
It's one of the exciting things about Bjergsen and Bwipo being on the same team, because they've both been so vocal about always wanting to service the team, just that history coming through with their pool. So how do you ever lock anybody down when it comes to champ selects?
It's also fun because we already saw like the Bwipo Rengar and the Bjergsen Zillion. Like, they also have these specialty champions that you associate with them. So when you're thinking of the bans, you're like, all right, do we just ban the regular control mages, Orianna, Syndra? Okay, but you know Bjergsen can reach deep.
With Varus against Ezreal Karma, I think Zoe is really potent in the mid game, but it's also Bjergsen, and he's hovering the Zillion.
I mean, you have a Viego on your team. I want to see this. I want you to do it. Go all in, boost up Santorin, give him the move speed and the revive to be able to go in and get these resets.
And he's already played the Zillion once, at least within lock-in so far. So it's not like it's a rusty pick, if it's ever going to be considered a rusty pick for Bjergsen himself. So making sure to be able to facilitate the team, offer that utility into the later portions of the game, and then meanwhile Dignitas going through their...
Do we get the Lee Sin? Okay. Yep, the Lee Sin does show up, and we're going to get the blind from Fake God.
Let's go. So Fake God put on that blind duty. Gonna get that last pick locked in, but Lee Sin is a pick that River has piloted one so far within lock-in, but also plenty of highlight reels on him during his international play last year, and patience in being able to select those targets effectively in the fights.
I mean, it's one of the most sought after jungle picks right now. So the fact that it falls all the way to last round of picks for them, with multiple jungle bans coming out targeting River, it says something in itself. And there is the blind from Fake God to Jace. So do we get to see, you know, just gonna go with like a Malphite, you know, rock answer for Bwipo? I doubt it. I think it's gonna be something more along the lines
A Bwipo thing?
Exactly. Trying to hard counter, get in there with a Pantheon!
Oh!
Exactly the words that were gonna come out of
Yeah,
my
you're just
mouth.
searching for a chill.
Honestly though, this is one that you can play so offensively into it early on, with the threat of jungle pathing up towards top side. Pantheon Flash guarantees you that gap close, and then in true Bwipo fashion, you get to utilize an early lead from top lane to the rest of the map with your ultimate. Plus, Panth diving in with the ultimate far away from the rest of the team, Zillion can speed up, get you a revive, even if you're super deep in there. And there's a lot of fun plays that you can pull off when Bwipo likes to go so offensive with the directional immunity from the Aegis from Pantheon. So we're going to get what we bargained for here with Team Liquid.
A threat everywhere that he can be this time around. And as we get into the game for our 4th of the series, we talked about the Pantheon, but who are you feeling in this game? Team Liquid, are they going to close it out based on what their win conditions are, or are Dignitas going to scrap it through?
Well, the momentum is definitely in the side of Team Liquid, but I think the scaling is in the side of Dignitas with Victor, Karma, Ezreal, and Jace. There's an argument to be made that they're a little too squishy as the game will scale, and the Varus poke might just be able to take him out, but there's not a lot of data to pull from on the Pantheon Zillion comps that have been played. As far as I can tell, this is definitely the first Pantheon I've seen in 2022 top lane.
I can definitely tell you, it is a kill lane top lane, trying to play off kill pressure here versus the Jace. And we're going to get some jungle pathing up towards the top side of the map. I really want to see the fireworks started early.
Yeah. There is a delay. There was a pause early on in the game. So because of the online delay, they are playing now, I've been told, but we're going to have to wait for the delay to go, so there's no tomfoolery that could be done with remote play.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me into the loop with that, Jet.
Yeah, no
We'll have
problem.
to work through that a little bit. But yeah, I think that one of the most fun things when you do have the Zillion in the game, obviously Bjergsen in general, but finding those targets for that ultimate and someone like the Pantheon that can fully capitalize upon that, right? So having faith in someone like Bwipo to really keep himself in those engages.
Yeah, and then the timing with this champion. It's funny that's a timing-themed champion, but also a timing-based champion. And one of the reasons you associate this champion with Bjergsen is the timing on these ultimates. Not overlapping it with the directional immunity from Pantheon. You know, if he has to Aegis up, when he's trying to pull out, and trying to coordinate those things, you don't always have time to vocalize how complicated some team fights can get with Zillion, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, Bjergsen does it the best.
Yeah, and the team in general having a lot of veterans that maybe have more experience with knowing how to layer it on these picks, being that, hey, their champ pools are far and wide, as big as this stadium here.
Yeah, and something that I think could be good for Bjergsen Zillion here is, to me, some of the things that Zillion will struggle against is like large amounts of AoE burst damage when like saving one person isn't really a big deal because the whole team is getting blown up, or like really substantial hard CC. And they don't have that on Dig. They have like a Lee Sin kick, and like that's it, right? So Bjergsen should be able to time his ultimates very well if he's in the zone.
It's also, though, liable to, you know, if you get poked out and you have to use it on someone who's getting chunked out and poked out early, that's how you can wage this war versus a very frustrating champion where, you know, Zillion teams are going to really thrive in all-ins if they can have Bwipo and Santorin forcing this engage and you get to actually get the full value out of the revive. If Dig can poke and prod, you know, and get damage, you know, with the range that they invested a lot of these early picks in, Ezreal, Karma, Victor Laser type of stuff, that can be a way for them in some of these fights.
Yeah, and Jack, you mentioned the fact that you wanted to see them back on some of these scaling picks for Dignitas and get to that point later in the game, but how difficult of a time do you think they'll have against some of the early proactivity that Team Liquid could try to bring to them to get them on that uncomfortable footing as they tend to be when they don't have the lead?
Yeah, I do often look at bottom lane first for this. So Karma Ezreal, I think, is a very potent lane. If they can get good shove with that lane, it limits the amount of playmaking that that Ayla can make elsewhere. But if there's ever a point where Hans and Ayla are able to shove in the Ezreal Karma, the roaming of the Thresh combined with the CC chain of like a Viego Pantheon is just going to wreak havoc on Dig, and specifically like Fake God's Jace. So really look for Bwipo once again to take advantage of that counter pick.
And specifically, you know, it is Bwipo on the Pantheon. You're trying to get your push first so you can move towards enemy jungle and towards mid. Those are the two areas you want to attack the most. Get your deep wards in up around the top side of the map, and then try and blow summoners off this Victor. Try and make this Victor's life so much less safe, less predictable, that you can stall out on some of the scaling. You can try and punish it there, because Zillion himself isn't going to provide any pressure there. That is not a super strong lane. But if you combine it with Pantheon stun, then you can double bomb and get value and, you know, possibly go for dives.
What I'm personally wondering is how many solo kills there have been within this series, and if there's any likelihood of that, you know, coming through this time. I do have faith in someone like Fake God, right, who has shown how he can really hold his own in the lane and then just be more of that team fight focus for his team, really finding ways to zone off the enemy. But Bwipo has not let up the pedal, and the rest of the team enabling him to just keep up that firepower.
It's been such a ridiculously strong series for him. I hear the pause is done, we are getting ready to head back into game. So he's pulled out the Rengar, found the victory, right? Hard carried the game with Gwen. Hullbreaker Aatrox. Now we see Pantheon. Maybe he builds a Hullbreaker. Who knows? Why not?
I kept thinking of that.
Why
Rengar.
not? Because it's trash. No.
Why not?
Stuff that
Did
in
you
the
not
one
hear
and
the
one.
stats, Kobe?
He's 1-1 with the Hullbreaker so far.
I don't want to see it. It's a possibility. But I really
You
don't.
never know. He
Yeah.
seems to like the item.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely knows how to wild out. And that's the thing, when you're talking about how many deaths he has for the team in total, and then I recently rewatched that Rengar game, and he did great things, but there were some moments that were definitely like, yeah, you're gonna die there. Yeah, just maybe change the stats a little bit, but still so much fun to watch. But this will be a fun game to watch too, because Team Liquid, they're on match point. Game number 4, Dignitas trying to hold their footing within the series to make it into the finals. They have upset so many people so far within the bracket of this tournament.
They've upset a lot of Team Liquid fans. So in one of the games early on,
all the 100 Thieves fans.
all of the 100 Thieves fans, yeah.
Really racking them up. But yeah, so getting into this game here, definitely want to look at what Bwipo is going to be doing on that Pantheon. Fake God having that blind Jace, but also River on the Lee Sin. Can he have that same strong decision making as we saw when he was making his debut?
Already so much poke landing for the bottom lane here for Dig. They got Karma Q plus 2 Ezreal Qs landing onto the TL bottom lane, taking their health advantage. But again, you saw when Bwipo moved into the river early to get his ward, not able to get to the Flay there. So it means that once Flay is down, take the opportunity. There's no cooldown there for the Thresh, so they can go punish once again. But Bwipo, warding out, knows for a fact it is a bottom lane start for River. So he's got plenty of time. You can see him trying to play offensively up here and work through some of those potions.
And also, it depends how quickly River paths through here. That ward does have a duration left on it. It's going to be up for 40 more seconds, but because River is going for a very early level 3, Bwipo has total knowledge of where he's going to be.
Yeah, it's really, really effective toward
ward.
Gromp and Blue because every single early route to get level 3 includes either Gromp or Blue, and that ward seeds both. So there you go. Thank you, observers. Both sides have done it. That's why it's so common.
That knowledge on the enemy jungler is that much more important when it's something like a Lee Sin that can be so proactive.
Yeah, the only one that is common that you would do that would avoid it would just be a full red side clear. Red Krugs and Raptors, and since they saw him transition over, they know it's going to be a reverse instead.
All right, so as we saw, River just focusing on clearing on that top side, and also curious as to how Neo is going to be able to impact the team later on into the stages of the game, being that he is so comfortable on this pick. A lot of ADCs are a little bit of a flay onto Biofrost, because Ayla being a little outranged there gets some chunk down, but look at the burn that they got onto Neo in return.
Really good trade back there, but you can see already full clear by Santorin matching River. Hello.
River sees Santorin on the rotation, and so does Fake God. So instead, both will back off and let it be.
And while it was top lane Scuttlecrap acquired for River, because he moved up to top side earlier with the early priority, not getting his Krugs yet. So it's going to be a full cycle for Santorin on the entire jungle, and the delayed level 1 Krugs there for River, which you should be able to extrapolate since they just saw him up there. Now he's going to be back down towards the bottom side of the map, and they have to be a bit more careful.
Oh, look at this.
They got us to be a little careful. Flashes, and then the flash returns from Bwipo. First blood for another solo kill. Yay! We get to increase the counter.
Oh my goodness, he's kicking him into the depths of the fountain. Bottom lane's going to be a rebuttal, though.
Oh god, Biofrost flashes under turret, gets some damage onto himself. So does Neo, following up on the Q. River, he's in it as well. Tags Ayla once more, but Hansama has the poke on this Barret. So flash forward. River gets Hansama and manages to make it out.
Bang bong, you dead. Hansama in the dirt. River absolutely styling on them. What? Are you kidding me? I feel like this game, I'm literally just a super fan of Bwipo and River. It is these two absolute stars.
It's kind of been the complexion of the series. right? River has run so many of the early games here, and then Bwipo has also been able to get such a big advantage for himself. We're going to watch the solo kill one more time. So a lot of times it's not super complicated. You lead with the W, so you get all your auto attacks in, stacks your Conquer super fast, gets the passive filled up again. I understood what Fake God was going for there, trying to flash behind the directional immunity, but Pantheon just had the all-in advantage.
Yeah, response flash from Bwipo. Fake God not able to get the knockback off quick enough to finish it off. Close but no cigar, and again, honestly, let's build the highlight reel. It'll be balanced. Team Liquid and Dignitas, you know, all of the Bwipo clips with all of the River clips, because that one on bottom side also deserved a replay. He did so much damage to both members. Here's the roam up.
Are nasty.
Bjergsen and Santorin both
Can't
making
ult.
their way towards the top. River is here too. Fake God gets some time bombs on top of himself, and Bwipo with the smack down takes down the enemy top laner once again.
And the little things, you know, Bjergsen comes up with a Zillion and just cuts off his retreat. The bomb doesn't have to hit. The bomb has to cut off the escape path. One on the head, one in the ground in front of him. Can't go forward, has to go into the waiting arms of the Gladiator. Bwipo, another one on the board. 2 kills to his name.
Lock up so strong when there's a Zillion there to escort Santorin, speed him up if need be, add a little bit of that CC. And meanwhile, TL, 500 goal lead for them right now. Starting to pretty even in the top late CS, but you do have those 2 kills on the Pantheon for Bwipo now, so he can begin mounting that lead that much more.
Meanwhile, check back in on bottom lane too. The poke wars still raging. And Neo did, of course, start with the tier. There's a debate between Ezreal players trying to start with, you know, damage or trying to start with tier to quickly stack up the tier instead. And so you don't have as much power in your early trades, but he is stacking up insanely quickly here. Should be able to convert his Muramana basically on purchase there, and you get a good double item power spike timing.
Kobe, I am going to point out,
Yeah, I mean,
Fade
I
and
saw
pickaxe
as soon as he bought the pieces, I was like, oh my god,
are
he's making a
hull breaker
Hullbreaker.
components.
I know. As soon as you see it, you're like, oh my god, he's doing it again. He's on Pantheon, and Pantheon, you know, has so much
Really
possibility
likes
for burst
Hullbreaker.
damage, but it's happening, chat.
It is looking like it.
Alerts, alerts everywhere. Build watch for Bwipo in the top lane. That's what we're here for.
Pantheon does, you know, have the semi-global ult, so he's got a lot of room to traverse the map, and so the split pushing, you know, is strong there too. But man, we're gonna get another one, I guess. He wants a part 2 to the montage.
I want to describe how atypical this is. So I'm on Analytics right now, Kobe.
Yeah.
They have 13,500 Pantheon games on record. I scrolled for first item completions. It has 1 Hullbreaker on record from the 13,500 games.
Is it Bwipo?
I would love to know if that one person was Bwipo in solo queue like this past week, because I'm looking at Plat Plus.
It's because this
He
is a
loves the item.
It's because this is a burst champion. You know, you have so much kill threat when you're going for a lot of these plays, and especially in solo queue. But you know, Hullbreaker is a durability and a tower killing item. To its credit.
I gots to know, Bwipo. I gots to know. Were
He
you
loves
the
it.
Hullbreaker?
I mean, it's because he's gonna he wants to get split pushing power out of it. So,
Absolutely.
anyways,
Oh,
we'll see how it plays out. Anyways, that's
You don't want to just stare at the items the entire time, Kobe. Don't look at the game itself. Just watch for the Hullbreaker finish. I got you. We got action coming along here. The Rift Herald being picked up. Oh, they
Just
got
used it for the move speed.
Yeah, a little bit of Swifty out there, but yeah, the Dragon's also been up for a while, and a lot of warding from Dig's side there.
That was actually really close. That was a little bit of a heist. The Dignitas bottom lane was moving up for Rift Herald, but Santorin has started it early enough, and Dig didn't have the correct vision on it, so they didn't know when it was going to die. So not only do they get the Rift Herald, they get a good reset timing for Han Sama in bot lane on the Varus.
plus they've got the ultimate ready once again for Bweep Bweep in the top lane. Problem is, he's dealing with extra jungle pressure, trying to allow Fake God to push in. River hovering.
Risky.
River goes in, he
Got it.
flashes forward. The Dragon's Rage gets Bwipo to the sidelines. A flash in return, but it's not enough. Shut down for Fake God.
Good bait by Fake God. You know, River hovering there in the fog of war, and he makes the most of it. Goes right in onto the melee, says, please jump in, Bwipo. They do. No hesitation for River once again. this is what happens when, you know, the two stars clash in the top side, I guess. It is the River getting the last lap this time around, but it's answered by Santorin picking up the objective for Team Liquid and still keeping it there. So that is Rift Herald and Dragon given up for the fact that the bounty was picked up off Whippo's head. They did get the kill for Dig.
Yeah.
Snap play.
For as much talking as we've done about Whippo's Pantheon and possible Hullbreaker, he's turned it into a Gore Drinker. So crisis averted. It is normal. It is not. He is not
you had
that
me
big
sold.
of a Hullbreaker enthusiast.
You had me sold. I was like, oh man, I can see it.
You
I
won
could
with
see
it.
Same components for Gore Drinker as well. He eventually got into it. I think Dig is actually in a pretty comfortable position in this game. So even though they didn't get Rift Herald, even though Whippo got 2 kills, like what has that really gotten them so far? They need to make a big play with this Rift Herald, or I think the Victor Ezreal Jace will continue to scale.
I'm just glad you're with me here, Latigris, so we don't have to take the Jat red pill and go down this this scenario.
Now, if he builds another Fade and pickaxe, you know what's coming.
Blue pill all the way for the blue fans too on the side of Dignitas, I think would choose that direction. Happy about the CS that he is starting to mound down in that mid lane. But meanwhile, River still spending his time on the top side. Thank God, knowing that Whippo is gonna go for it. A tower shot will get him low. Throwing the shock blast through means that River gets the kill off of that gank. Stun up from the double time bomb onto the rotating Victor, and blue is popped. Fake God and River try to make their way down to offset this, but Santorin continues in pursuit. The kick back, but is not enough. Double kill for Bjergsen. Coming back to life with the ultimate here. Santorin is right and ready. Team Liquid on top in that.
Bjergsen Zillion is back online, baby. Roams up to the top side of the map multiple times. Finds the extra kill playing off the jungler. Speeds up Santorin. They also win the extended 2v2. Like Team Liquid really are running this one home. And this time it's not just, you know, Team Whippo. This is Bjergsen on signature Zillion pick. Santorin on carry jungler getting buffed up.
And that's the big Rift Herald we wanted to see out of them as well, being able to break the final 3 plates with a Rift Herald drop. I love the fact that the gold is also going on to the Viego. That is going to be such a powerful pair going into the next 10 minutes of this game.
Santorin on the Viego, meaning that you do want to get him a bit of gold in his pocket, get those initial kills off so he can feel comfortable, and the gold swinging in that direction as well.
Yeah. The play here by Whippo was definitely a little bit of plate greed, and he didn't have as much jungle cover as you would want to make a play like this. So definitely trying to push the tempo on them. But as Blue was also roaming up to help, that's where the jungle is able to catch him out, and it's just a double bomb into a nice flash stun into dead.
I think the coolest part of that is that it's so hard for Zillions to hit double bombs like that when you're chasing someone. And the speed up on himself to be able to get into position for it. Then, of course, you know, up the river, they know they can win the 2v2 because he's got revived. And so Santorin can play super aggro, but speeding up and be able to land both those bombs when you're chasing down someone is the impressive part for the Zillion pick there, cleaning up the kill and allowing the double.
Just how speedy that Bjergsen can go to join Santorin with that time warp. You always have to worry about him being a threat, and it feels like if you see a jungler around, the mid could be right there with him, and Bjergsen knows how to execute on that very well. But over on the bot side, you see the pings coming out. River spent a lot of time over towards top, a full minute going until that dragon spawns up, so it makes sense to want to establish some of the vision down here as well.
Yeah, huge vision control coming in from Santorin. That's the 3rd control ward TL has cleared in the last about 30 seconds, so heavily prioritizing the setup for that Hextech Drake.
And now that they've taken down top side turret, you know, objective number 1 for the top triangle focus of this, you know, solo laners plus jungle combination for Team Liquid, where they put so many resources and so much focus for them. Goal achieved. Now, since you've able to take down top side turret, you can push in for the Pantheon for Whippo to get the real effect of the champion through the rest of the plays here. We talked about warding up deep in the jungle and then joining the rest of the team with the ultimate. Rivers on vision.
Oh, and he gets caught out. That's the lockup from the time bombs. Kicks away Santorin, and even that burn, he's still healthy enough to come through. Blue has rotated, manages to get the lockup with the gravity, but Santorin's still in pursuit. That's a time warp to speed him up to get in range of the Heartbreaker.
Oh,
and Quimbo
man.
finally makes his impact elsewhere on the map. The Grand Starfall for the entrance, and the grand kill for Team Liquid.
Right in the hands of Team Liquid. They were just at the point where they wanted to make a top lane play from Whippo, and they're
Still
going
here.
deeper.
Santorin's still here too! New Arcane Shift away doesn't create enough distance, and meanwhile, Team Liquid continue that domination.
They are running the map right now. Yes, they are giving away a lot of turret damage to Jay's top lane, but that is a very favorable trade nonetheless as they clean up pretty much everyone on Dig on the bot side and turn for Drake.
One of the first small mistakes we have seen River make, going up into the river without the sweeper on that ward and being punished by Team Liquid. That being said, it was still only due to the Zillion Bjergsen speed up there that they were able to chase him out and speeds up Santorin to go get the extra kill here. Him actually getting the kill credit and getting some of the money, quite nice for them, along with that dragon stacking. This game, yes, the series has been so enjoyable. Dig at so many points, have been able to fight back and push Team Liquid extremely far. But this one seems like it is a lot of control opening up here towards mid-game.
Yeah, as long as TL can keep these skirmishes like 2v2 and 3v3 with how potent TLs like Zillion, Viego, Pantheon combos are. If it's a 5v5 though, I think Dig has a good chance of fighting back.
Oh, look at that heavy hit that Fake God was able to offer from the back line. Stun lands onto River just to make sure that they can't get any of the final poke onto the low members of Team Liquid.
And again, as we kind of cautioned and highlighted from Champ Select, one of the difficult things for Zillion teams is long range. So if you can land the poke, you know, in addition to grouping and being able to 5v5 and rely on your Karma's speed up for disengage, if you can hit those skill shots, Ezreal, Karma, Jace, Victor Laser, all extremely long range, chunk people out, even getting out Zillion ultimate cooldowns early on, can allow you to get back into the game, get some objectives like that. And they cash in on one. This is my personal favorite from the losing side objective. Here we go for the engage attempt.
Dragon's Rage to get Hansama out of it. River has to make sure he doesn't stand near his teammates because of the time bomb on him. Neo capturing one as well. Has to back off. So yeah, even though you have to worry about that range, you gotta worry about them bombs.
You definitely have to continually worry about the bombs. I will say though, to me, this is the most overtuned of the objective bounties. It's the second Rift Field. Here's another bomb. Biofrost is just dead. Man, I just want to talk about bounties for 1 second.
Too bad, Kobe. They're winning by too much.
Nah, no bounties. Just burst in down to Biofrost. Team Liquid effectively getting all the outskirt turrets down, and with a little bit of a wave at their reckoning, they can get some chunks onto this tier 2 as well.
As long as they can have these skirmishy type fights, it's so much damage. They get the cleanse odds.
Neo.
Okay.
True shot barrage just to throw it out towards Aleb.
Kobe, what were you saying about that Rift Herald?
I feel like I've been put on timeout by the teams. Another objective bounty picked up. I think the second Rift Herald one is the most overtuned because they set it at the same, 500 gold that the Dragon or like a Baron objective is, and yet there's so much lower of a value. Second Rift Herald is one of the lowest value of the neutral objectives that you ever have on the map. But it has a very big bounty on it, so I like the call from Dig. This is why I do in solo queue too, because people kind of ignore it a lot of times. They just try and rush that down for a big 500 base and can be increased if you're super far behind. Gold bounty to cash in on, and then they also got effectiveness out of the bottom side bounty. So this is the main new strat for us when teams are getting crushed. We're talking about bounties. If you rack up all of them like this before it gets turned off, they're getting some value.
Yep. Chunking down from a 4K gold lead to 3.3 immediately off of that bounty take on the top side. So Dignitas finding their advantages that they can capitalize upon here, but Team Liquid, I mean, you just have to worry so much about their lockup. That seems like the most difficult thing for Neo, narrowly escaping in moments. And as that burst gets that much stronger in the later portions of the game, a single hit will be your downfall.
Yeah, and even though Team Liquid is very strong right now, you can see Man Immune completed by Hansama. That'll soon turn into Muramana. They got big bounties on Viego, Zillion. If they don't kind of cleanly pick up these next two Drakes, the game will become dangerous for them because the poke is going to be very huge from Jace, Victor, Ezreal as we're setting up to get later and later in the game. So it's important that TL continue to accelerate.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, as you say, the Ezreal's Muramana just transformed. So that is the difference I was talking about with the Ezreal choices of starting either the tier or like longsword pots and stuff like that. You get it's basically the later purchased Varus option with the tier was at like 150 or something.
All right.
Oh, because there's a Santorin over the wall right now. Blue no longer alone in that matchup. The jungler claims the prize.
That's a really nice setup for Drake.
Yep.
Blue could technically be able to teleport in, but there's almost no way that Dignitas is going to have any type of control in that area, and it's just a really nice play there by Bjergsen Santorin.
Yeah, he's got his Everfrost, his Seraphs is completed, so he's getting the ability haste for it as well. It's getting so annoying since they changed that item. A lot of champions were sad that the stats were changed, but here's the teleport flank.
Bjergsen is here off of that teleport. Santorin goes in.
Oh, he missed the ult.
Coming through with a grand starfall, manages to get the pop onto Neo, and now Fake God backing off as well. Throws out a Q for some additional damage, but he's on the retreat. Biofrost, the next target from that vault. Bwipo knows exactly who he should be focusing on, and River chunked all the way over towards the mid lane.
Bjergsen gets his first kill onto Biofrost as well.
Oh, true!
Yes, the test was trying to crack that one.
I love my old friend.
Yeah, Bjergsen did miss the ult onto Santorin, which gives over a bit of a bounty, but because they won that fight so handily, they are able to cleanly get to Soul Point.
And you want to look at the replay to see if it was range or actually timing, because they were collapsing on it and could have been ranger as he was moving over. But still, the amount of ability haste that you have on this Zillion build. So let's see. As he's going in from one side, Bjergsen had just teleported, trying to get over there in time to get in range of it. He gets bursted out so quickly, but the amount of control you have, look at this ability haste. Double bombs with the slowdown, but then the rewind and immediately has another slowdown, and so they still get Biofrost with it, tracking him down there. That plus the Everfrost, there's just so much control in the Zillion pick, as well as the revive mechanic.
Yeah, so he's at 90 ability haste right now, which would be the old equivalent of 47% CDR. Definitely able to have his cooldowns come up pretty quick.
He's on Zillion. He can tell the future. He knew he was going to kill Biofrost, and he made it happen.
It only took until game 4.
Game 4. Oh my goodness. It's just great to see, though, how strong he is in that target selection to make it for the rest of the team to be able to follow up. We would say, oh, you got somebody locked over here? I'm just going to hop right on them. That's okay, my friends. And Dignitas having some difficulty in finding a way to prevent that from happening when they get locked in the jungle with just a lot of the avenues of escape being taken away from them. And as we mentioned before, that soul was secured. Oh, but there's another starfall for Bwipo to find Fake God.
Run,
tries to leap on out of it. Where are you gonna go? This bush? That bush? This cove? Your grave? Over in the mid lane, though, Ayla flashing away to deal as much space as he can between himself and River. So no follow-up intended here.
What's the lore on Pantheon? Is he a real god? Is that like the god of war? Pretty close there, because he has had Fake God's number all series long.
No matter
Finds a
where
pick off.
Always. He just finds him. He say, you go all the way to the other side of the map. I'll join you there, buddy. You're my new best friend. The friend that he did not ask for.
Really want to just get any pick they can.
Hanzama flashes away. River throws the ward down. Comes on through with a Q. Last cone. Biofrost is going for the lockdown with the tether, and as soon as that lock happens, there's no escape from there. Santorin on the opposite end gets pushed back in the root, coming over the wall to join Bwipo and the rest of the squad. River a bit deep right now. Safeguard to hop back over towards Neo. And now Bjergsen speeding his way to join the rest of the team over in the mid lane.
I really love that force by Dignitas. That's the type of scrappy fight that actually had the opportunity to get them right back in the game. Very close to being able to pick up more kills. They get the Zillion ult down. They get both summoners out of Hanzama. Those summoner spells won't be up for the Infernal Dragon fight, which I think is a must-win for Dignitas. If they give over Infernal Soul to a Varus poke, that's probably game. But now that they have no flash on Bjergsen and no flash on Hanzama, it does give them a fighting chance if they can get another flank opportunity.
And no cooldown on Zillion's abilities with the Cosmic Drive, 120 ability haste.
55% CDR, yeah. So the base cooldown of time bomb is 3.6 seconds. So like, think about like double bombs. You can double bomb and then 3 seconds later, you get the third.
World first quadruple.
That's just absolutely gnarly. Thinking about the way that kit is already built to be able to get that nice feeling of getting all your cooldowns as low as possible, and the way he's building, ensuring that is exactly what he's going for within this game. But 4.5k gold lead still just hovering right there for Team Liquid, and they still have over a minute right now to set up for that next Drake. Still keeping our eyes on the sums that are down with those flashes unavailable, but Whippos should come up in just a soon time.
Challenge for Bjergsen. I want to see him get 2 revives off in the same fight. Should be able to do it. Bonus points if it's on the same person.
The fight only has to be 27.25 seconds long. That's his current cooldown for his ult.
It's possible. I believe. Definitely think it could be a thing. But one thing is for sure, with that clock winding down on the Dragon, Team Liquid are the ones
That's without.
who have too much fun being out here.
We'll see the poke that Dig can get down here, though. This is an incredibly pivotal moment in the game.
Oh, coming on through. Whippo has arrived, leaps on forward with the vault. Again, Blue is the target, but River is here for the safeguard, kicks him back with the Dragon's Rage into the rest of the fight. Biofrost flashes over on one side. Meanwhile, Fake God, the target of Santorin, getting him down with the Heartbreaker, and Dignitas have to go into the jungle.
Whippo does fall down without Bjergsen being in range for the ultimate, but that is enough health taken away from Dig that I think TL should be able to get this Infernal Drake without a contest.
Yeah, all of Dig right now just having to back, except for Biofrost, who had died previously, making his way towards the mid lane for clear.
Yep, that is going to be a soul for Team Liquid. There's no Ezreal ultimate available. Their only hope at attempting a steal there. So Infernal Soul picked up. More burst damage means more fun. Haha! Bit of a...
Teleports.
Yeah, Bjergsen using the teleport over towards top. Just moments ago, we saw the pings coming through around this Baron side. Dignitas have vision established around it. Everyone was too low to really be able to follow up and try and make a play around there during the previous time around. But with that being the main neutral objective at play, with Elder not spawning for another 5.5 minutes, you want to make sure you have some kind of security of this portion of Summoner's Rift.
It is so frustrating to play against even a slightly above average Zillion. And we get to live in this world where we're again seeing Bjergsen back on the Rift, playing what feels like pretty premier, Bjergsen Zillion level.
Yeah.
Dignitas are again going to have to approach this. We laid out some options early on where we're like, okay, maybe you could snipe, poke someone, really focus fire, get the cooldown out early, or maybe they're separated. But again, that 27-second cooldown on his ultimate was without rewind. That's going to take off 10 more seconds. So like, even if you burn that cooldown, it's going to be up so quickly, it's insane.
Yeah, and I will say that...
Oh, basic ability. Just kidding.
Yeah, the rewind will refresh the other abilities, as it used to be that way with a really long ultimate cooldown chrono shift. As much as TL is dominating, there's still a window for Dig to come back. It might close if they can actually kill River here.
River tried to connect with the Q, got hooked. Starfall coming in. Whippo dishes a lot to Blue. River also chunked down. Bjergsen nice and speedy over on the opposite side. The time bomb's not quite going to connect there. Enough of an escapability from Dignitas, but the rest of Team Liquid can back off in unison.
Getting another nice chunk will allow them to probably be able to get this Baron, and then they still do have to accelerate the game. It's looking pretty good for Team Liquid here.
Looking good with them eyes on the Baron. True Shot Barrage slices through a couple members and gives some intel over to Dignitas that this is committed. Ayla hooks on and follows up for Team Liquid to secure themselves that Red Bull Baron.
Little bonus on the way back to base with your Baron empowered recalls and your Dragon Soul already picked up. All right, with Neo already down, right back out to pushing. This is Team Liquid's victory march. What a series. This last game, definitely their best executed as a team as well, with everybody really contributing. Whippo wastes no time, though, getting right back out on the map to push it in.
We've definitely seen a back and forth in this series. Team Liquid had, I think, an early game advantage in game 1, but the scaling of Dignitas took over. Team Liquid actually had pretty weak early games in 2 and 3, but won with scaling. If they can close out with the Pantheon Zilean higher execution barrier team comp, it would be a good sign for them. That's not the type of play you want on a victory march.
Not quite. The subject of too many eyes on the side of Dignitas. The rest of Team Liquid is here, though, and they'll continue to follow through with that wave. River just continually getting poked down so that he can't actually stay long enough to try and offset this push. Baron-empowered minions at the ready. A cannon one in this wave as well. Just look at that burst down that Team Liquid have at their disposal to take this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, even with Whippo in the fountain with no teleport, still can push it all the way through. Good job, I would say, though, by Dig. They're always looking to try and fight their way back in, pushing him under tower, getting around the immunity, hitting from the other side, finishing off at least a kill for themselves.
You know, I was just thinking about the fact that I've only played Zilean and ARAMs, and watching him and how fast he's able to bring stuff up makes it feel like an ARAM, how they have that additional cooldown.
It's like a little overwhelming as well, which is why it's such a hard champion to pick up when you have to... All your abilities are kind of up all the time. So it takes a lot of experience, and Bjergsen is the one who consistently is able to execute.
Seeing if he and the rest of the team can pull through a victory in what has been a very Team Liquid strong game. And we talk about the comfort pick that Bjergsen has on the Zilean. We've also seen Ayla on the Thresh being so comfortable as well. A lot of the hooks onto River so that he can't actually have an impact once the engage begins.
Yeah, it's been such a calm series actually for the TL bottom lane since there's so much focus around this top triangle. You know, that's where so much of the action has been. And you can see it in the kill participation as well. Only 2 assists down there for the bottom laner. But Baron buff pushes in. Pantheon ults over just in case anybody steps out of line.
Sometimes you just gotta make that face at him, and Whippo has no problem doing that. You can see some of the damage that the side of Dignitas can output, just really chunking down onto Ayla's health bar right there. But he just stands behind the rest in the wave that they've got through. No more Baron buff here, so it's just a standard push from them, but they've all come through effectively.
Yeah, just making sure they go slow and steady. As long as they don't get a huge Lee Sin kick into a bunch of bursts landing at once, it's very difficult for Team Liquid to lose a fight. Just try and use this Infernal Soul with the Varus and Zilean poke as much as possible. And with Elder coming up in 20 seconds, this would be the last-ditch effort for Dignitas. We mentioned how they keep trying to fight their way back into the game. At least they have a little bit of position, and River is trying to just hide in a spot where they can't find them. It's a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, and that's exactly the strategy you have to go for when you're 7.6 thousand gold behind. Fake God gets slowed down. I don't think...
He can't move.
He can't. Look how slowly gets put in slow motion as things speed up onto River, who again just stopped in his tracks. Team Liquid, while Dignitas were the first into the river to get some kind of established vision, it's Team Liquid that pushed them back. Now the Elder in their sights.
All right, River, make the miracle happen. It's up to you, buddy.
It's your last chance to make a stand right here, but even with Dig on the outskirts, everybody on Team Liquid, they just send Santorin and Ayla into that back line. Blue chunked down. Theo taken out of it. 3 eliminated from Dignitas. Santorin hopping onto Biofrost. River hopped on by Bjergsen. And that, my friends, will soon be the Bud Light ace achieved by Team Liquid.
Great call there from Team Liquid. They aren't going to let him take a chance at a flip. They go for the kills, jumping over the back of the wall. Congratulations, TL, on your final spot.
7-0-6, a vintage Bjergsen Zilean game, and back-to-back lock-in finals for Team Liquid, this time without Core JJ, so using Ayla from the Academy team. As you said, Kobe, congratulations to TL.
Ooh, la, TL, deflate the wheels of the party bus, send it over to the garage, and make their way into the lock-in finals. The second timing, they have 100% presence rate within the finals themselves. Good on them.
Such a fun series to watch at that, too. Not sticking to, pure standard play on both sides. So much proactive gameplay from actually both of them. Really good plays on both sides. We had, River making so many, stars plays for the side of Dignitas. The team coming together in a lot of opportunities. Bwipo doing some one-man heroics as well. It was quite a journey. Definitely enjoyable semis.
Yeah, I do like the way the series ended up progressing because I think you could look at just the first 3 games and you'd see this very passive Team Liquid, right? Like they're not really doing anything unless Bwipo is finding the creative plays to let them win. But with this last game, I think it is definitely more encouraging. That's where Bjergsen and Santorin were able to get a lot more involved. Like they were the ones really accelerating the pace of this game. And I think that'll give them some confidence going into the finals on Sunday.
Team Liquid has been the squad where we talk about all of the talent that they have, right? Yes, they have the rotating roster and many people at their disposal, but that comes into play when it's down to the wire and you're in a best of series and you need those multiple avenues to find win conditions. And the fact that the 2 standing players, Santorin and Bjergsen, they ain't rotating out. They're playing every game, and they're such a consistent force for the squad.
They really are. And I have to give a congratulations to Ayla as well, right? He filled in for the entire 4 games.
Yeah.
Right? They've been swapping between Jan, Bradley, all the different iterations, and this is the one they chose to go for Dignitas. So congrats to him for filling some big Core DJ shoes and still coming out with the series victory.
We will see Dignitas throughout the LCS season, I'm sure, take their learnings from this and apply it further. But Team Liquid, they do take the series and that spot in the lock-in finals. And to hear more about it, we're joining Pastry Time and Bwipo for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Lajapi. Great work on the day. I'm here actually with player of the series and the menace in the top lane himself. It is Bwipo. How's it all going, mate?
Pretty good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Been a very fun series to watch. You definitely had a lot of high-octane gameplay, let's say. You made a lot of things happen in that series, I'll tell you that much. How are you feeling after game 1, though? Because that was obviously the loss that you guys suffered here in the series.
I felt really bad, actually. I was so far ahead, and I felt like I would normally be able to, 1v9 that game. But it didn't happen. Like no matter how hard I tried to flash forward. Like, let's not talk about the TP. Oof. Yeah.
And then obviously game 2 felt like the ship was righted there. How did things kind of feel as the series went on? Because it did feel like the team kind of built cohesion kind of as the series dragged on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's our first best of 5, and we weren't having as much engage in game 1. It was harder to pick the fights that we wanted to. I tried my best on the Graves, didn't really work out. Turns out Gwen, Aatrox, and Pantheon are a little bit better at picking fights, so that worked out. Well, in game 4, I think Bjergsen Zillion was the star of the show, of course. But in general, I think that we drafted some champions that had a little bit more agency in picking fights and didn't require as much patience to execute. And that's kind of where we were lacking in our patience and in our mid game. We weren't very patient with the way we played around vision and how we used my moves, for example. I don't think I played a particularly great series, other than the fact that I had some highlight plays. So lots of room for me to improve still. Lots of small things I can improve on. But I am happy with where I'm getting in the game. So get some big leads in the lane, and that's nice. That's not something I usually do.
Well, that seems to be a trend so far. You mentioned, though, that felt like you were maybe a bit impatient, or the team was at least, kind of in the middle of some of those games. Who was responsible, especially when, you're changing players out in a lot of cases, although not in this instance? Who's responsible for kind of making those calls and adjustments, either in-game or between games?
I mean, everyone is responsible, right? Like, there's not just one person that's responsible for that. Everyone tries their best to understand what went wrong, what we need to focus on, what we can do to improve the situation. Because obviously game 1 was definitely a throw. No doubt about that. That game was in our hands. So we just discussed, all right, what do we do here to make sure that doesn't happen again? And everyone took the responsibility in their own way and as much as possible, which I appreciate.
And I will say, you mentioned you made a lot of different highlight plays throughout the series. You are a very fun player to watch. How would you describe your approach to top lane versus kind of other players? Because you are constantly creating action. You have an ocean of picks to choose from. It just feels like Bwipo's approach to top lane is quite different to everyone else's.
Yeah, I suppose so. I try to make the opponent uncomfortable. My goal always was when someone sees my name in the loading screen and they see me load in, they're like, oh, not that guy. I cannot. I just don't want to play against this guy because he does X or Y different than everyone else. It's something that I've always loved in competitive games. I've always tried my hardest to be that guy. Like, there's no way he. Of course he does. Like that type of reaction is exactly what I'm looking for, because I actually think making the opponent uncomfortable is a great competitive advantage if you're comfortable in that situation. Right, putting someone in a situation where he has to lane against Pantheon. It's not a champion you see every day. You know, you play your last match potentially, like match point. You're on match point. You have to play against the champ you haven't seen in 2 years. Like, what's happening, right? Meanwhile, I've played Pantheon. I've been practicing him, so I feel like competitively I have the edge there, just because of the matchup that's been drafted, and that's really what I'm about.
We're kind of looking ahead then as my final question for you. Team Liquid actually are the defending lock-in champions. Obviously, you're a newcomer to this particular team. So are you going to go ahead and defend that title now that you're in the finals alongside the rest of TL?
I have every intention of doing that, yeah.
All right, well, thanks for chatting with me. It's fun as always. Both in and out of game, you're an absolute treat.
Thank you very much.
All right, with that, we are going to close things out and throw it back over to the State Farm Analyst Desk to wrap up our first day.
Thank you so much, Pastry Time. I absolutely adore Bwipo as a player. I adore his philosophy as a competitor there, where he talks about, you know, for him, he wants to be that guy that elicits a response just by virtue of seeing his name on the other side of the rift.
Woo.
Player of the series in this one, and I think so well deserved. I know he was more tempered in his own evaluation of his performance in this series, but come on. This man was basically a one-man army today. Granted, I'll give him the Zillion did perform in game number 4.
Yeah, but he was the standout player no matter what he wants to say.
Yeah.
Bot lane was up and down, Bjerg was up and down. People were like, where's Bjerg for half the series before that Zillion game? You know, for the most part, River seemed to be getting the better of Santorin. And so I think it's easily Bwipo for player of the series. And he had an incredible one.
The solo kills, I knew he was killing people by himself. But the
some
solo
players
kills,
don't get that many in a split.
Yeah, like across these 3 games, that's actually
9.
insane.
Where it was 4, 2, 3, 9 total solo kills.
Yeah.
Wild.
Across 3 games.
He might have got some in game
across
1 too.
3
They didn't even
games.
show game
now,
1.
I'm bummed I didn't know that, because I would have asked, like, Summer Split, who had the most solo kills in all of Summer Split
In like
last year.
18 games, you get 10. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of
That's
solo
nutty,
kills.
right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, of course, every player is going to be extremely self-critical of themselves, right, in a series like this, but, like, he was a consistent force. And we've had players last split in this same position in Team Liquid, Alfaria, that was given the resources, but there are always questions on the consistency of being able to carry it through in bigger moments. Bwipo just had those leads, and he was consistently carrying it through in team fights. So definitely a big plus for him.
Yeah, the early leads always came. They continue to arrive in his pocket here in this 4th and final game. It's that Pantheon versus Jace matchup. Again, he said himself in the interview, he feels like, hey, I straight up have the advantage because of my comfortability on a champion like Pantheon here.
Yeah, and I mean, when he talks about that kind of stuff, we touched upon this earlier in the day, but he's going to go into this matchup with a way better understanding than Fake God in terms of, oh man, now I have to face
Where are the
a
break
Pantheon,
points and
right?
things like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough series for Fake God. I think for Dignitas, you still see a lot of bright spots moving forward, especially compared to pre-tournament expectations. Here again, River had a good early game, was out on the map, influencing multiple lanes. As great as Bwipo was playing, you know, River still found these opportunities to actually get into even top lane and influence it.
Yeah, and I think obviously Bwipo already touched upon this. The star of this game is definitely Bjergsen. You can kind of see the difference, him piloting something that he's just so comfortable on, and the thing that made this game so much different than his previous games is definitely how much he was already roaming and affecting the map early.
And that gank was just beautiful from River, right? Just kind of playing out a fog of war, waiting for an angle there. So angles like that gave Dignitas chances, but like another one too.
Well, this will be one of those moments that Bwipo's kind of talking about when maybe he gave a little bit too much back. Getting greedy for a plate, hands over a kill. Those are the kinds of mistakes that you're going to want to ultimately clean up. Again, here's the roam, though, from the
squad
duo for Team Liquid to clean a couple things up and keep them rolling forward. Bjergsen on the Zillion, it's great to see him perform on that. It's great to see him come in and immediately start to warp the meta as well. And it should be noted, the man got his first kill, as the caster said, on Biofrost.
There it is.
In this final game.
He said he was going to do it. He finally got the job done. And yeah, Bjergsen Zillion is a force in North America. There you go.
That might be the best stat graphic we've ever had. I absolutely love it.
Hilarious. I mean, like, this game, he was flying off in terms of the stats. And he was literally level 18, and the next highest level person was 16 at that 30-minute mark. So he was a star.
But you gotta love it too, because Biofrost, aware of it all, kind of takes it in stride. I do want to hop back to the comment that you made around Dignitas and just the showing that they've put up here in the first few weeks of 2022. What a spectacular showing! What a surprise it's been! What a pleasant surprise at that for us to see a team that finished or struggled in last year. Finished 10th in the power rankings of the teams themselves coming into this tournament, make it all the way to top 4, unseat the favorites in 100 Thieves on that journey, and then still manage to take a game and make the whole series still look competitive against Team Liquid.
Well, the series was really interesting in terms of what Dig did with their drafts, because we saw them go through and try to play like a variety of different styles. And was it perfect? No. But there's like so many small pieces in there. And I'd actually say that with a few different execution, like slightly different execution, maybe better itemization in that one game, they could have had a much stronger, way to win this series.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that game vividly. Game 2, it definitely felt like, was that the game 2 or game 3? Either way,
Game
it was
3, yeah.
I remember that game vividly.
Okay.
Was it game
Which
3
game?
or game 3?
Back in my day.
Doesn't matter, okay? But
Can't script
it
that.
was literally
It
like
doesn't
a
get better than that.
3K goal lead, or at least coming into a 3K goal lead for Dignitas. I was like, oh, they're about to be on match point. So I booked it out of there.
Yeah.
And I was ready to like kind of showcase the. I was a flip flopper, okay?
You were ready to
Whoa.
flip
I was ready to
He was
flip
ready
flop.
to go.
Now
You're
it's-
gonna expose that now that it was the incorrect choice?
I'm an open and honest person.
Also, does that mean that you jinxed them?
I didn't
Oh,
show it right
wow.
now.
Hey, tell me if it's not jinxing
Oh,
to put your
snap.
jersey on before you even get your second game in the series.
Right?
Dignitas,
Come
this
on.
man cursed you.
The timeline here, the timeline of events was starting to make me question there, Raz.
Dignitas should ask for
Right.
all their merch back from Raz,
Yeah.
so he can't do this
They
again.
can't do that. This is 2016 merch, all right? They
Yeah.
have
Now,
to try
somebody,
hard.
somebody in the dig office right now is deleting that contact out of the Rolodex. You know, they're just like, he's never getting free stuff ever again. Well, let's turn our attention back to Team Liquid, though, with our Rock Hat big play of the day. It goes to Whippo's 1v2, a play that fans on social were popping off about even when he had a quadra kill in this series. People wanted to watch this one. It's the Whippo difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why everyone's so excited to watch him. Breaks the ankles of J4 there on the juke back, making sure they can't get it, and then able to get the 2v1 kill with his patented lethality Graves build.
He always tries to turn it. Like, this was one great moment. You could talk about the mistakes that J4 made there, but like there was the other moment when the full dig squad was wrapping around him, and so he just takes the fight, flashes forward. It didn't work then, but if he sees no angle out, he will try to trade.
Yeah, I love that. Whippo versus the world. We had the memes around. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me, which is always great to see. As we look ahead though to tomorrow, I'm calling all my bracketeers to pull up their brackets and take a look. Only 2 more series ahead of us. First off, it's Evil Geniuses versus Cloud9 to figure out who will be moving on to take on, rather, now our defending champions in Team Liquid. That's actually something else we hadn't even mentioned, right?
Yes.
Is that now Team Liquid has back-to-back appearances in the lock-in finals. They've secured their ability to defend the title.
They want that 150 grand, man.
Hell yeah, they
Got
do.
it last year, they want that
I
bag.
want that 150
They want the
grand.
bag again.
We gotta get to work. We gotta get to some practice.
We need to build a team.
I know.
Well, we've got Emily in the mid lane who's gonna build Rise correctly.
Wait,
and I
what?
know we have at least
No.
that much
we
going
go.
I'm
for
not a
us.
mid laner.
EG
simple.
Cloud9, a brief conversation on that. I want to talk because this Evil Geniuses squad, I think, is one that everyone is excited about. And very early on in the tournament, given the dominance of a number of their games, they were one of the teams that a lot of people targeted as, in fact, probably the team to beat.
They don't really feel like they have a weakness right now, whereas a lot of the other teams, even like the team that they're going up against, Cloud9, struggled at points in the CLG series as a 2-1. EG have looked so clean. They haven't dropped a game yet, and I'm not even sure where you point at like, oh, attack this angle. I don't really see it right now.
Yeah, and I mean, they also just had different looks that were always successful, right? The draft always felt like they always knew an angle. They were playing Senna before the changes even went through, so now that's for sure going to have to be a ban. Not allowing that to happen.
Cloud9's confident.
There we go.
I have one more question, though, for you, Rez. Do you own any EG or Cloud9 merchandise?
So I do own Cloud9 merchandise.
Well, so we know EG's going to win this.
Oh
Alright.
my God.
It's all been
It's
figured
true.
out. Emily, your thoughts on Evil Geniuses versus...
Don't worry, C9, I'm not bringing it.
Keeping it home.
The thing I still want to track from C9, I know I keep harping on this, is their drafts and how much they're pulling from possibly stuff that their other part of their team could have scrimmed against or seen in Korea, because I think that's been really interesting for me to track. But I love what Raz said about EG, because I feel like it's not even necessarily the champion picks, right? Like, we've seen them play a bunch of different ways, and that makes it so much more difficult to attack them because of how well they're communicating right now.
Exactly. And even just another addition, even though it didn't get impacted by the patch, was that our initial concerns was that, Jojo Pion is a player who's always playing forward, and Inspired would be the type to farm. So it's like, how is that 2v2 dynamic going to work? And they literally feed off each other really well. There are times where, Inspired has Jojo covered and it's vice versa. So all those concerns out the window.
Yeah, one other little nugget of a teaser is just to remind people that, of course, it's Vulcan going up against his former team.
Boom.
Vulcan right now playing at the top of his game, so we'll see if he can take it to Cloud9
did that
in a
hurt?
fashion much like Raz just
Didn't
took
hurt.
it
How's your
to
funny
the
bone?
desk. That's it for the LCS, though, for today. So now, on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow for more of the LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.
This is Vulcan next time.
That sounded like it.
That jump down, River goes in with a flag and drag. The Cataclysm is up. He drags his life first. Whippo gets it. 2 killed and a double kill for the Team Liquid top laner. Mama, Papa, the kids have all arrived. Whippo flash forward to want to get this onto blue. The Chaos Storm has dropped to get a lot of damage right outside of the Cataclysm. He falls and Ganny turns back a bit. Minions too strong. Whimsy Whippo, he's coming through with a this. A nice knock-up. Blue gets it. Everybody's going to circle onto Whippo. The rocket from down from Bjergsen to dish out some additional damage. And Blue, while exhausted, continues to go in on Bjergsen. Not quite shut down. Flash to the right to avoid the NATO. And Fake God keeps his sights on the enemy mid laner. Taking down Bjergsen. The Crocodile gets it. Fake God has arrived. Slices and dices in. Knock-up means that it's a shutdown in favor of Blue. Hansama gets the return kill, but a lot of blasting across the board. A polymorphed Blue has to set his escape. Throws out a NATO, but it's not enough. That's a quadra kill from Hansama. Throws it back. The hail of arrows hits really strong. Oh, flash! Neo tried to get it. Ends up falling. Hansama staying alive. Hansama has the poke on this Barret. So flash forward. Barret gets Hansama. Manages to get the lockup with the gravity, but Santorin's still in pursuit. That's a time warp, speed him up to get in range of the Heartbreaker. And Whippo finally makes his impact elsewhere on the map. The Grand Starfall for the entrance and the grand kill for Team Liquid. Manages to get the pop onto Neo, and now Fake God backing off as well. Throws out a cube for some additional damage, but he's on the retreat. Biofrost, the next target from that vault. Whippo knows exactly who she should be focusing on, and River jumped all the way over towards the mid lane.
Bjergsen gets his first kill onto Biofrost as well.
Oh, true!
Yes,
Thank you. I'm gonna kill Biofrost.
All right, that's what you heard, everybody.
I love it. Into it? Are you
I love it so much.